kind of said I'm going to become an architect simply because I could draw.
The most simplified version of why I joined architecture will be I opened the math book, I didn't like it, I joined architecture.
Exactly. We humans are so adaptive. We will live with anything.
Architecture by itself, you cannot have one training person. I mean, there's no one architect. And we are architects are made to have a god complex we think we create, but architect is just a glorified criminal.
We traditionally braise the fridge over here. We place the fridge in the kitchen near the hot place. But recently someone found out with using AI simulating that it consumes a lot of energy because it's left in the heat.
Architecture itself deals with a lot of intangibles. Like design. Can you define design as a term? You cannot. Can you define culture? You cannot.
So we know architecture is all about building buildings, but we are not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about the thinking behind how we build buildings. So in this segment, we are talking about architecture in three disciplines. So one would be research, second education, and third would be practice. And we have three experts here who's just going to do that. Across this podcast, we are going to talk about how the field of architecture is evolving, what are the flaws we see in it, and how we can better carry it forward. Start from where it all began for you guys. So we'll start with Anita. What brought you into the field of architecture?
I heard about architecture when I was very small in my 8th standard. And my brother, who's today an electrical engineer, he wrote the exam for architecture at Anna University. And when he came back home and told us how his experience was, it was all about real life sketching. And I was an artist at that time, and I had won a lot of prizes. And so I was keen as to where my talent was a professional course.
Mm-hmm.
And so from 8th standard, I kind of said, I'm going to become an architect simply because I could draw. And of course, I enjoyed science also. But other than that, I had never met an architect or even had any kind of, any idea what this profession was all about. And then when I came to the 12th standard, I came to know there were only 2 colleges offering this in, that is back in 1989. Only 2 colleges were offering this course, and that was very limited seats. It was 30 in Anna University, Pune, and 15 in Regional Engineering College, Trichy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big fight. So we had a separate exam, not the one which you write for IITs or all the other affiliated colleges. And of course, there were not many affiliated colleges at that time.
Mm-hmm.
There were very few. Yeah, that is how I joined this course. So yeah, I initially joined in Anna University. And then further wrote my exam again for Regional Engineering College and took my transfer to RECT.
Okay. So you've been in this field for quite a lot of time. How do you see this field now as a change when you started?
I will definitely say only now it is coming to birthing.
Okay.
Okay. Before, this profession was not known to the public. It was known to the PWD engineers.
Okay. What is PWD?
Public Works Department.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now there was this category for architects, and there was a demand, and especially for large scale buildings or campus designs or say hospitals or anything to do with the government, there was a rule that the architect had to endorse the plan. Back in 1994 and all that, engineers used to build, even masons used to get the plan from somebody and build.
Yeah.
It was very unorganized. Okay. And people were not ever, they don't want to pay more, obviously, because you're going to pay a specific, like a boutique delivery.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was not very, it was not known at all. Suppose Coimbatore, I knew only 3 architects there back in 1990. And in Chennai, you can count it with your fingers. Just Pitavadian, Venkat, and like that. Few people. And even the people coming out, most of us were absorbed abroad because they're all class A grade colleges. Anna University is an A grade college. Uh, RECT was also a grade. So there was a huge demand for these people coming out of this college. Very few stayed back in India. I think this came forward uh, in some metropolitans like Bombay,
Okay.
Bangalore, Delhi, Calcutta. You know, in this main Ahmedabad, I could say that. Maybe a little bit of Bhopal, a little bit in Coimbatore, second highest. There were some cases where architects were designing anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Like it will be for industries or hospitals or big campus kind. Only for those kind of
Nothing
projects.
so
Not much for
towards
residences,
residential. Yeah.
and maybe very rich clients, you know, who are ready to
Yeah.
experiment with their residences. Of course, Coimbatore had an exposure to London. GRD was from London. So he kind of pioneered the start of architecture in Coimbatore. Over here, of course, we had L&T already in vogue, and they were spearheading the movement of architecture here, but it was very corporate.
Yeah.
Okay, and they liaised with these top architects like C.J. Raghunathan, Pithavadian, Venkat, everybody. So that is how it started. But today, if I'm right, we are having about 8,000 students coming out from Tamil Nadu alone for the past 15 to 20 years. So yeah, we have a huge influx of trained, skilled architects. The downside, they don't, at the early stages, they did not have very good faculties. Few in number, and they were all practicing. So getting them to come in for teaching was a little difficult. They will take hours only. They were maybe paid on tenure. So that's the only way they could do it. And so the learning in those times, even during my times, was very difficult. Getting practicing architects to come and speak to us was very rare and in between. Until we chose to work every semester end, we used to go to other architects and try to pick up the job. But now it's very much different. The industry is completely twined with the academic, and they're all contributing. I should say, I find most of the architects like Murli Morgan, Ponni Concesso, they really come and help us and share their skill set with the students. So yes, I say the boom is happening.
That's good.
That is what I will say. And pay scale initially is a little low, which is a little depressing for the students who are going
budding.
Even when I came out from RECT, my colleagues were earning, even then, 50,000 rupees. I'm talking way back in 94. That's like today's 5 lakhs. But for us to even get 6,000, 7,000 rupees was difficult, because it was a private sector, small entrepreneurship sectors. It was not, maybe L&T had, but very, very few companies offered that. And L&T was very particular, they took it only from IIT and REC. And most of the time, even we didn't have campus interviews. My time, there were no campus interviews. There were campus interviews for all the other engineering departments.
Even now, architecture does not, you don't have campus interview anywhere.
But now they are moving into it. All the colleges are trying
Is
hard.
that the limitation of the educational outreach or companies coming into education?
It's a self-employed sort of firm, so you can't.
See, it's entrepreneurship. Okay.
So it's still classified as.
Yeah, we are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
We are meant to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Okay. The other downside in India is very rarely people acknowledge the due that is due in architecture. You go to a CAD center, you can get a drawing for 2,000 rupees. They don't know whether that drawing is worth it or not. Okay. So now this is our least competition. Another person, the client, will want to go and say, why only one drawing? No, why should I pay you anything more? But there are established companies which will charge you very high, and whatever is the norms stipulated by the Council of Architecture. But now that the influx of so many outgoing architects are there, they all want to earn. Okay, so they are all bringing down their prices. And so, yes, I find that the fees collection has been quite a strain as an entrepreneur.
Okay. Yeah.
I know some projects where I will finish right up to the structure and the plastering, and they'll withdraw. They don't want to pay the rest. They don't want to pay the remaining 40%. Many like that. And then there are many cases where they don't want to follow the rules and regulations. And we don't want to be party to it. Because tomorrow if there's a problem, you're held liable, and for you it's a profession. But for them it's a gamble. They're making money. It's a business for them. Okay. They are and then they will listen to a mason and say, no, this is enough. And sometimes there were some drawings, where I had some clients say, why are you putting so much of steel? Why are you putting so much of concrete? So that was why I was saying there was a lot of nascent, patterns in architecture before. But now it's changing, definitely changing. The more the new houses are built stylishly, well lit, and with unique aesthetics, and then they know, okay, this is something only architects will do. So yes, now even for houses, there is a lot of response. Even down south, even in this third tier cities also. And the students who are coming from third tier cities. I'm a professor. I have been a professor in about 3 different colleges. I'm pursuing my PhD too. So I'm watching that the students come from down south, from Ramanathapuram, from Ramna district, from Keelakarai, and down Kanyakumari, where I was surprised that architecture had an exposure.
Yeah.
So yes, things are changing. The good news is Tamil Nadu is poised for the maximum number of colleges, and now sending out the maximum graduates.
Yeah.
You don't have it pan India. It's clustered. The maximum number of colleges is in Tamil Nadu. Second is the belt, that is Ahmedabad, Pune, that belt. Am I right, Anna?
Yeah. There's just one or two colleges, but if you draw a line at the center of India, you have more on the left and a little bit Tamil Nadu. Above
The rest
on the
east
right,
and all that, in Lucknow, all that,
like
nothing.
even Andhra Pradesh, Telangana,
Orissa?
that side you have nothing.
Nothing. No architecture colleges there. People come from Assam.
Literally none.
No, there
Very
are
few.
very
Every
few
state has
colleges.
REC.
Very few. Yeah. Okay.
REC, or now called NIT, or NIT. The
Yeah.
NITs are there in every state, but it doesn't carry value.
Yes. It's not like what you can create an ecosystem out of. Just graduates going out somewhere else.
Yes, but now they are trying to bridge it because it's a scope. Every state is trying its level best. Yes, India is poised for a lot of growth. We have to accept that. In Assam, there is a big time development. Big time. The government is.
In Tamil Nadu state alone, we have 12,000 openings for planners actually, government, but most planners finish their basic degree in architecture.
What?
So even today,
What do planners do?
they plan cities and
Okay.
Road layout, networks,
transportation.
Okay.
all those flyovers, all those kind of, where are the jam points, where are the bottlenecks. That will be identified by research and proposals will be made to the government.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have a lot of new technology coming in. The awareness of reducing the carbon waste. So there's something called zero carbon footprint, which is an attempt now that is taught in all colleges for the sensitizing the students to be thinking in that league, not to use too much of cement, because that really uses a lot of energy, and then eventually you release a lot of carbon dioxide into the and then a lot of sustainability. ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிளுக்கு உங்களுக்கு சொல்லணும் அப்படின்னா, செங்கல் இருக்கு இல்லையா, செங்கல் எப்படி பண்ணுறாங்கன்னா, நல்ல விளைச்சல் மண் இருக்கு இல்லையா, அலுவல் சில்ட் சாயில் வருது இல்லையா, அந்த மேல் மண் எதுல இருந்து விளைச்சல் நடக்குதோ அந்த மண்ணு தான் பிரிக்குக்கு நல்லது. இப்போ அதை வந்து எடுத்துட்டு போய் சுடுவாங்க. they burn. ஓகே, ஒன்ஸ் இட் இஸ் burned, அதை நீ உடைச்சு திருப்பி நீ வந்து பூமிக்குள்ள போட்டா எந்த விளைச்சலும் நடக்கும். ஓகேவா? ஸோ அப்படின்னா நம்ம விளைச்சல் பண்ற மண்ணை நம்ம தொலைச்சிட்டு இருக்கோம். ஓகேவா? ஸோ இப்போல்லாம் வந்து நிறைய சிஓஏ கவுன்சில் ஆஃப் ஆர்கிடெக்ட்ஸ் தான் வந்து இதெல்லாம் வந்து ஸ்லோவாக புஷ் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்காங்க. கவர்மெண்ட் டெண்டர்ஸ்ல பார்த்தா கூடயும் இந்த மாதிரி ஜீரோ கார்பன் வெஞ்சர்ஸ்க்கு அவங்க ரொம்ப சப்போர்ட் பண்றாங்க. கவர்மெண்ட் ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸ்ல வந்துருச்சு. ஓகேவா? அந்த ஏஇசி பிளாக்ஸ், இந்த மாதிரி நியூ டெக்னாலஜி, நியூ மெட்டீரியல், அப்புறம் ரீசைக்கிள் லைஃப் சைக்கிள் ஆஃப் மெட்டீரியல்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. ஒரு பொருள் எடுத்தனா அது திருப்பி பூமிக்கு போகணும். கடவுள் நம்மளை அப்படிதான் படைச்சிருக்காரு, நம்மளையும் படிச்சிருக்காரு, படைச்சது எல்லாமே அப்படிதான் படிச்சிருக்காரு. எவ்ரிதிங் ஹேஸ் அ லைஃப் சைக்கிள். But our interruptions into this ecosystem, this cycle, spoils the ecosystem big time. ஸோ அதை வந்து நம்ம கான்ஷியஸ் ஆகிட்டு நம்ம எடுக்கிற முடிவு வந்து நேச்சரை பாதிக்காம எவ்வளோ நம்மளால பர்ஃபார்ம் பண்ண முடியும் அப்படின்னு அந்த சென்சிட்டிவிட்டி எல்லாம் வந்துருச்சு. அதே மாதிரி டெக்னாலஜியில பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அது வேற ரேஞ்சில் போயிட்டு இருக்கு. யூ கேன் டெல் மோர் அபவுட் தட்.
That's good segue. Let's hear from you next.
The most simplified version of why I joined architecture will be, I opened the math book, I didn't like it, I joined architecture. So
Yeah.
that's a simplified answer. But why I actually joined architecture was because I wanted to see what I was doing. I like visualizing the numbers. So that was what I liked about architecture specifically, compared to most other. I mean, my interests were in engineering initially, but when I was looking into engineering professions, every decision was highly mathematical, and I was drawn to the anthropometric, the anthropos of making a decision, the human-centric decision, than the mathematical decision. So that was what drew me to architecture initially, and it was also the fact that I had a platform to step onto right after I started off. So those were my initial reasons. When we were studying architecture, and when we graduated, and when we became architects, our batch specifically, we were at the advent of technology. Before her batch, it was hand drafting. Every architect used to draw on paper physically. So which means all calculations were either mental or on paper, and the limitation was time and physical strain and all that. So when CAD was introduced, it was a huge leap. You could save a lot of time, and you could make more prototypes. You could make more mistakes virtually, because mistakes were costly on paper. But the limitation of CAD was that it was two-dimensional. There were three-dimensional CAD softwares, but still they were all what you would call very manual. It's not very integrated. And then there was the advent of BIM softwares. BIM is building information modeling. So basically what the softwares do is, you don't draw a line, you draw a wall, you draw windows, and you draw the building for what it is. You don't start off with a sketch. What you lose over there is some of the creativity you get from doing something manual, but in return you save a lot of time, and your ability to integrate a lot of the services like electrical, HVAC services, plumbing services. Everybody can use the BIM software in their own way. Project management, it is also considered a project management tool. There are now Revit is the biggest BIM software, and it is a prerequisite if you want to be part of a corporate or be part of a large scale project. Revit is the way to go. BIM is at its peak at the moment, and right when we got out, BIM was at its peak at that point, and we would have to learn softwares in a couple of weeks. There was like a new software every month, and we had to learn, try. I think when mummy was out, she had like 3-4 softwares, and we had 3-4 softwares every year.
What were the differences between those?
So each of the softwares had a different take on how to design. Some of them were just basically lines. Some of them were, you could
See,
extrude.
actually, holding the dimensions, there are 3 dimensions, X, Y, Z. AutoCAD had mastered the drawing in 3 dimensions. Like I can say, in X direction it will go this much, in Y direction it will go so much, and at that XY it will be at this Z location. Gripping it in the third dimension. 2 dimension is easy. The third dimension hold is, it has to imagine the entire thing. So that is when CAD started. Yeah, and I had black and white screens, and I had to give like 15 meters at X and Y. And I mean, everything was fed in. When I came in 2000, okay, I'm talking 94 itself, REC had a huge computer setup. So we had the basis on the computer, the initial. When I came out, nobody knew CAD. So there were offices, but they cannot bring the new technology because the workforce is not skilled enough for the technology. But they knew the business, okay? They don't know the technology. So now they had to mix young technological brain under experienced person and mingle, and that was very difficult. Believe me, there was a lot of this, rubbing and all that stuff. But then slowly it came to stay. Okay. What I wanted to add is now even BIM is coming to a point of being stagnant, and it is now. I have met people who are working with Python and doing 360 virtual augmented reality, and she is designing with that virtual reality. People across continents, and you're seeing live.
Yeah.
Everything is now virtual.
Yeah.
So it's gone places.
If I may ask, like you said that those technologies were disruptive back then, and you were like probably propagating that
The
in
first
where you were in.
Yeah.
How did you take that up?
See, my advantage was because I was in regional engineering college. They had a dedicated block with 250 computers with the latest software and all the necessary additional things. No college had that. Anna University had only 5 computers. So it was 24/7, we could go there and learn. And they, being a central government college, they had all the softwares. So we could learn it there. So when I went for internship, that I should be learning the profession, my interning architect made me teach all his staff AutoCAD. I wrote a book on AutoCAD, on all the commands and how to. I literally did, and that was my submission for internship. Can you believe this? I lost a lot of marks there. And then thinking they are helping me, they also wanted. They were also a little forward in their thought. அப்போ வந்து ட்ரெஸ் இருக்கு இல்லையா, இண்டஸ்ட்ரிக்கு ட்ரெஸ் போடுறாங்கல்ல, இந்த டிஸ்டன்ஸ் இந்த ஹைட்டில் வந்து எனக்கு XYZல வந்து they wanted to give out the necessary design of the structure. So we had a mechanical engineer and a civil engineer, and I was the architect who knew AutoCAD. And they made me learn C++ to design in Autolisp. I did it, okay, and I went back with this Autolisp data and this teaching data. Then you can imagine they will understand what would have happened to my internship marks. Because the architects there were not, aware of what they were auditing at all. So yeah, that was the time back in 1994 when things were really changing. And now it's, I very recently met, I think even you met Sheetal architecture.
Yeah.
She was going places with that. That is in VAT, Yama,
Bhopal.
VAT Bhopal. She's integrated a syllabus where AI is not.
Hmm.
They have done it. So yes, and India still they are tying up with Polyme, Milan, uh, and they are exchanging students. So yeah, we are really improving, and all the colleges are vying for tie-ups with international universities. So architecture is good.
Hmm.
Okay. Downside is those who are passionate will really
Yeah, they'll start keep evolving with the field.
exactly,
Yeah.
and you don't stop learning.
Yeah, that's a good problem to have. Let's hear from Fiona. The same question.
Honestly, I did not know A of architecture when I joined the course because I was focused on doing medicine, and because it was one of the so basically the idea was to go for go into some industry that caters to the basic needs of people. I did not like engineering.
Hmm.
I did not want to do physics and chemistry all over again at 11th and 12th. I did not enjoy that. So, medicine, which is health, fashion, which is clothing or shelter. These were my options. But medicine was primary. But I didn't think through it until 1 week before joining architecture. I was writing medical entrances. That didn't work out for me. Uh, at that time, there was a supplementary book magazine from, I think that was during the board exam itself. There was a supplementary book in a Tamil magazine called Mangayar Malar. So அதில் வந்து there were different fields, 50 fields that the students can choose from. Every supplementary will come according to the time. Like if it's about festivals and be about festivals, this time it was about education and different colleges offer. So Allah, my mom said, okay, let's take a break from your studies. I will read this. At that point, she read architecture. You know, this is what they do, modeling and what they do, what they teach, what is this field. That sort of interested me, and I remember telling my mom, I'll do architecture if I don't get medicine. So as soon as the medicine thing was looking a little shaky, I picked up architecture. Even for a year into the course, I was not pretty sure if I was in the right place. But I think going forward, I really fell in love with architecture because it was discussing all the positive things. See, unlike Nived, I came into it unaware. I knew no architects. I did not know the difference between civil engineering and architecture. Only it was a true learning experience and a complete blank
You were a
slate.
clean slate when you
Yeah,
started.
clean
Yeah,
slate for me when I started. So it was very interesting. Uh, so then that was the hook.
that was okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So now that you've been here for quite a lot of years now,
yeah.
what's changed when you started?
So I in the field or for myself.
Both as in the field and what it gave to you.
Okay, all right. So architecture itself, I saw it as something that is in the intersection of people. For me, the perspective was much more larger than one residence being built for one family or consultation, talking to people about their dreams. So all of this was part of the course itself. But I was more um, pulled into the kind of books we read. We studied, so basically, we studied mechanical engineering, so understand lift and systems like that. We studied sound engineering to an extent to ensure that sounds don't travel between rooms. We studied a little bit of health, also physiology, also in some courses to know the climate. The best kind of temperatures for the people, and then we studied geography where the building had to be built, and then we studied about, so it offered so many things and I was not willing to let go any of those things.
Yeah.
So I wanted to find an intersection of all of these things, and towards my fourth year of architecture, what I really liked was cities. I have always grown up in cities, and that was intriguing, which led me into research in architecture. And right now, I practice research itself. and the intersection of culture, community, people, how they behave in a certain space, how the space affects people. So that constant relationship between architecture and its people, not so much into the softwares or delivering designs itself. In my entire time until now, I've only
Yeah.
designed one building.
No, that's good. Like you see that there are different facets towards one field and how big the field itself is and what it offers to the market and people. Let's dive into one problem directly. So you have, I'll put this problem ahead. So you have an empty land in front of you without any design specifications. How would each one of you look at it and how do you approach it? I'll start with Fiona.
Okay. If first I would see where that piece of land is um, located. Like, is it in Chennai or the larger, the macro level? And then I would see what are adjacent to the site. Like, what are the good viewpoints? Where is the noise coming from? What's the main road access points? These are pretty common to all of these things. I would really look at the functions of buildings that are next to the site also. Like, what if there is a school nearby, in the opposite, in my design I would have something really attractive for the kids to look at in my front yard of the design. So something like that would so those are some things that I would look at. And if there are levels in the site which I can optimize to having more play within the light, I think I would miss out on the light and ventilation part, because the other things overpower. I know where I would not really focus, although it's very important. But yeah, I think those things are still given. So these things.
Normally,
Again, feel free to refute or agree
no,
or
normally if you're giving me a blank slate and a blank site, and if you tell me there is no client, can I assume that?
yeah.
Okay. Then maybe I am advisor to the government. Let me assume like this. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm making a proposal. Then the first thing we have to do is a feasibility study, a study actually which is her domain.
Yeah.
She will have to do the research of what is the demand in that area, the need of the sector, and what can actually supplement that. And if there's any negative spaces, where some kind of negative activity is taking place, and if you can refute that, because normally empty places are used, sometimes misused.
Yeah.
And so we will look at all that and then study what can be best done at that place. So we call it a feasibility study. Now that is a big time research which urban planners do, the government may, and they offer ideas and proposals.
Okay.
Am I correct?
More or less.
So what happens next? Would you like to add on that, Nived?
I'd like to take a different tangent
Okay. Yeah.
to that. So, so they get the feasibility study done, the requirements are set, and you get on to designing and executing the project. So, in that phase, you can you come across a few problems. So, what shapes the building? We are taught that the human need is what shapes the building. But in my years of practice, I've understood that to a great extent, even our software shape our building. Okay, we draw only in 3 axes.
I like to add to him. We humans are so adaptive, we will live with anything.
That's true. That's true.
You give them anything, right or wrong, they will live with that. Okay, that's how adaptable we are. Okay.
That's the other extent.
In the extreme of this human dimension.
Yeah. So yeah, our softwares shape how we live actually these days. You look at some of the facades, some of the aesthetics. It's all I think all of us know how it was drawn on the software.
Which software was used to
Exactly.
run that particular building.
So softwares did shape.
Meaning, is it like a template that's available as part of the software? Or?
No, it's the commands that you use.
So certain softwares are more geometric, like rigid geometry, boxes. Some softwares allow you to go fluid, where you can define each point of the building.
Organic.
Okay.
It's more organic in nature. So you know, looking at the building and the facade, which software was used to draw that one. I think that's it. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, softwares. And the next thing is industrialization of building material. So the brick is a rectangle. It's a cuboid. That, whether you like it or not, shapes how the building is formed.
Yeah.
Uh, forming a curve or making any other shape outside of that is inefficient. And efficiency, is also it also aligns with green initiatives and everything,
Economy.
economy and everything else. So although the human need is on one end, the human tendency to adjust also gives way for all this. And the limitation of the material itself, how much span can you achieve, the material, how much load the building can take, how high can you go, and all those factors affect the decisions when you make while designing. You could say, I'd like to have a house that's 30 feet in the sky, but I only want a small house. That could be a human's need, a human's desire, but that's structurally crazy.
Not feasible.
Yeah, no, you could make it feasible with the current day technology, but that would be highly inefficient. And you also have rules, local body guidelines and rules, restrictions for you to follow: height, space, volume. There are several factors that sort of limit your decisions that you can make in design. And then there are the cultural decisions that you have to make, like Vastu. Over here we might refute. She might say there is a science behind that.
Okay.
I say it doesn't exist in this day and age.
Yeah.
Vastu.
But that's more towards the belief of the clients and
As he said, it's a bone of contention.
It's a bone of
Yeah.
contention.
I see it as 100% science.
Okay.
For me, I am able to understand it as science.
Okay. Okay.
That's a topic for another day.
just again, give me one Vastu
Okay.
that relates to science in your own way. We're not going to refute,
Okay.
and we'll let the audience refute in the comments or whatever.
Okay.
But let's hear that.
Okay. For example, I'll take the placing of the kitchen.
Okay.
Okay. See, Vastu is very much for the location. It has been designed for India.
Yeah.
And India is in the northern hemisphere. And you know the centrifugal force. Okay, so the spin of the earth. So all natural forces are moving, this Fleming's rule. So anything, it's continuous movement. It's a kinetic energy. The earth, we feel stable now, but we are right now moving at a speed which we are not aware of. And so all forces in the northern hemisphere will move from the southwest to the northeast, including all the, the streams of air to the geotecton, the ground plates below, until there is any other pull or push some other reason. So normally what happens is, talking about kitchen, they advise to be aligned only along the cardinal points. The reason being, only if you are aligned at a 45-degree angle to the southwest flow of wind will the building be aerodynamic and not stop anything, and the wind can go against it and there won't be unnecessary wind pressure on the building. Okay. Now because of the aerodynamic moment, now the southern, you can divide it into 4 quadrants. So the southwest quadrant has full pressure of air. And then because of the deflecting air, the amount of air entering into the southeast segment of the southern side is lesser. But now, on the eastern side of the same corner, the southeast corner, there is no wind because it's being sucked out. So there is a negative vacuum, air pressure. So what happens is, the air that is inside in the southeast will be pulled out. natural ventilation, natural suction. So is it for the northwest. Southwest is the corner, the two diagonals are northwest and southeast. And these are the two places advised for kitchens and toilets. Recently, emissions are maximum in this place. So when the suction, that is, I don't need to put a exhaust. Naturally, it will exhaust it itself. Okay, so this is just one example. And the advantage of the east, southeast over the northwest is the sun comes into the eastern side in the morning. So my kitchen is well lit when I'm cooking in the morning. Okay, and normally Indian people we cook early in the morning, right? So for us, having the sun coming in at that time helps us cook better. The next one is the temperature in that southeast side compared to the western side. The temperature rises before the west because the sun has hit the wall. So the inner space is also warming up. So the amount of fuel we use cooking in the southeast is lesser. But now the same thing if I'm cooking in the northwest, I don't have light, so I have to put the current on. And then, of course, my ventilation is equal to this, but the temperature is not there. So actually, the fuel used for cooking is more. So to me, I see a phenomenal understanding out there. So I have sustainability, I have energy conservation on activities, right from the time used for cooking to the efficiency of cooking to the actual activity.
Okay.
And then the next one is it's a lot of high moisture area. So it becomes dry, you don't have fungus. You will find any kitchen in the western side will, that fungus kind of smell, mucky smell, will be there in the cupboards inside. That's because the moisture out there has not escaped and doesn't have the right time to think, especially in apartments where you don't have the other side. At least if it heats up in the western side, you can combat this thing, but it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I truly believe it is fantastic science, and I have my respects that they have given it. And if we understand it, we'll use it well. Now, if you ask me, does this work in apartments? I have my skeptics. I'm skeptical. You cannot think for that unit alone.
It's more like a guidebook.
Holistic. அந்த பில்டிங்கை ஃபுல்லாக தான் பார்க்கணும். நான் வந்து சவுத் வெஸ்ட் கார்னர் பில்டிங்கில் உட்காந்துட்டு நான் நார்த் ஈஸ்ட் பற்றி பேசினா But unfortunately over here they have Vastu has gone to a level
30% Vastu, 40% Vastu.
Now there is something called numbers. My building outline must be this much to this much. Then he will be prosperous.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now that doesn't make sense to me. I'm not going there. Okay, va? எனக்கு அது புரியல. But I have my regards and respects for Vedic science because I feel something they knew and the translation of understanding has not happened.
Yeah.
When they could do this, maybe there is something there and I don't know. But as such, right now, my logical mind does not accept it. My logical brain accepts, say 30-40% as she said. For me, it is perfectly understandable. Even like entrances being in the northeast, I know why it is there. I kind of totally and appreciate it also. So yeah.
So Vastu might work in an ideal scenario, but you take a plot in the city and the Vastu that you apply for the ground floor isn't the same in the third floor. And I agree on the impact that climates, season, wind direction and sun path have on the building and in how it shapes our activities inside the building too. But I think it's not as rigid as Vastu states it to be in every site scenario. It is different on the ground floor, it is different on the third floor, it is different on a different slope, and it's not you could take into considerations the importance they have for all these openings, but each site requires a different solution. And as far as placement of rooms is concerned, from an efficiency standpoint, I'd put my staircase, my lift, possibly my toilets and all my plumbing in the middle and open out the building on the sides. Okay, that's one way of looking at it, because I'd like as much light and ventilation and activity happening on the outside where you have a lot of light and ventilation, and let all of this be artificially ventilated. Because we have energy management systems now in place. I was just doing a small calculation for some of the projects, for one of the projects I was doing, and if we just manage to use monocrystalline solar panels, you could cover and you cover the entire roof. uh, you would provide for 130% of the power needed, ideally speaking. Definitely that number is going to change based on season, based on how much sunlight you receive and all that, but still that's a great number to have. Um can that be the solution for every building around? I don't know if we have that much silicon for the solar panels, but that is still a solution.
Yeah.
Just to add to the conversation, um, I understand in terms of like light and ventilation, even ventilation in a moment to an extent that it's understood for one particular block when people lived in separate blocks. But when we don't have enough setback, or when the adjacent buildings have an effect on your thermal trap and everything, the
Doesn't make
it
sense.
doesn't make sense. And when all our main services, the urban level, coming from the urban services are on the main road, then naturally you see most toilets also facing that way because it's easier. You use less pipes and uh, everything that you need to connect. So those things. So even in the older buildings, which followed Vastu, say for example Chettinad Havelis and those bungalows, you would see that the toilets are built in the front, next to the gate. That is a later addition because the services and the pipelines came in on the road later. There was no toilets before that, so they would build it in the front. So now what happens to Vastu there? Yeah, like those are certain things that, and sometimes we see people so tied to the idea that they would take something like this here and go to the US or some other place where they moved in and try to apply Vastu there, where everything has changed. So it is quite the opposite effect on your building. And also, I feel like it works on a 2D level, but on a 3D level, I don't know. I'm not so sure. And
Very
with the
minimum, I
material,
think.
yeah.
But there is one thing to add to this. With Vastu, I think 50% of the site we can't use. We had one site. Okay, the only rule I was given is it should be Vastu compliant. We went there and we went there also. Okay, and then I can build for Vastu. Okay, but if the site itself is not for Vastu, what can you do?
Yeah.
And then since I knew that they were very particular about Vastu, I had to retract. I said, sorry, that land which you have got is not conducive according to your preference.
Okay.
I can do. Whether it's your preference, you have to choose. And the Mario.
Okay. Yeah, understood. Because you're having three different perspectives that we spoke about, all three of you can offer that. What is the rift between academics, research in specific, and applying architecture in practice?
I'd like to say one thing now, which I have noticed.
Yeah.
I think it's happening in all domains. Okay, it's more specialization. Okay, they are not covering all the topics. See, when we used to study, we knew every aspect of architecture. Like project management was a necessary course. Physiology, climatic understanding was a course, not a choice, not a elective. And right now, and so is every aspect of it, because it is a multifaceted domain.
Yeah.
Now what has happened is they have segmented it so much that when you go outside, not one person is in command of the entire thing. You don't find a good captain for the ship
Okay.
because the captain has to have an idea of everything. Okay, but I foresee in about 30 years, okay, that it's already there in Japan. That was what my information was. Is they will try one successful method and they'll stick to it. They don't want to deflect. They're happy with it. because they don't want to, experiment and fail and then be accountable for it. Of course, research is happening on one side, but actual implementation போறதுக்கு வந்து there is a gap. ஓகேவா? ஜப்பான்லேயும் அப்படிதான் இருக்கு. What is already practiced is accepted
Okay.
until it is 100% proved or somebody is ready to take the risk.
That you can implement in scale.
In a new technology or a new methodology. ஓகேவா? இப்போ சப்போஸ் ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிளுக்கு சொல்கிறேன்னா, ஐ மைட் நோ சஸ்டைனபிலிட்டி. ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்கிறேன். The other person might be strong in terms of urban planning and all the other things. Now, I will have no idea whatsoever of the other aspect. I will not have an idea on the sustainable, the other person will not know about sustainable decisions. So there's a lot of conflict that is happening in the decision making, and that is prolonging the design decision making in many places. Okay. So I found in many places that they are not able to have a ownership, one person having the reins. That is very rare because they are dependent on people, because right now it is segmented.
Okay. Isn't that like a mindset of each individual who's studying architecture? Because what I'm seeing is like there is not a concept like one engineer. There are multiple engineers who work towards solving one problem. Is that resonating towards architecture?
Yes.
So this exact question that you're asking is paper that I've written, and I understand where Auntie is coming from and what she's saying, but also on the flip side of it, I feel today there are a lot more collaborative practices that are coming up. That there are quite a few collaborative practices which have led to successful buildings. In fact, architecture by itself, you cannot have one draining person. I mean, there's no one architect. I mean, architects are made to have a god complex we think we create, but architect is just a glorified middleman. Okay, he's got to speak to the client, get the requirement, convey it to a uncouth mason. So that particular term also you can look up on Google and then tell that, okay, Anna, inge one niche ஒரு group போட்டுருங்க, or இந்த மாதிரி பிளாஸ்டர் பண்ணிடுங்க, இங்கே வந்து இது பண்ணிடுங்க அப்படின்ட்டு. Let's have a fluted panel அப்படின்னு நீங்கள் சொல்லிட்டு இங்கே வந்துட்டு have to just basically that translation happens. So I feel when designs are better, decisions are better when collaboration is there. There are several research plus design formats that are happening right now, a few of which I have worked with, and the conversations are so receptive. There is once you've accepted that there is no creator complex in this profession, then you are more receiving. Definitely the specialized understandings in like if you want that personal say on things, then it is problematic. But if you understand the deficiency that I as a general architecture did not go in specific and learn about everything, but I am drawn to my interests. So when we are doing a city planning or when we are doing a particular building, if we are bringing a transport planner to tell about this, an architectural historian to talk about what the culture of the space is, an architect to talk about services in the design itself, and other ecologists or to tell about what are the native plants that you need to add to the buildings, and not from architecture at all, or somebody who understands depending on the site itself. If it is a marine engineering, then the people fish, and then they say, okay, these materials are fine to add in this location, then we add those things. It makes the project so much more contextual. It makes it so much better, and this is not a utopian ideology. It exists, and there are several. There are so many practices today that are coming out in that sense. But I still understand and acknowledge the fact that it is very less in Tamil Nadu, especially Chennai. I won't say Chennai is a great place to see great architecture, except ancient temples and other places. Definitely, there are better examples for architectural practices as well as buildings outside, purely, as you said, because of the mindset of people. Either it's the mindset of the client, or it's the mindset of the architect, or there is some understanding of this collaborative effort, or the need to have I did this. If we just loosen that a little bit, I feel it's possible to be more accommodating and grow to a collective growth, and we can actually put a plays on, because we have the capability, we have the ability, we just don't have the mindset.
With the current generation, you say that's happening?
It's happening.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, not just the current generation, it's been happening for 15. So, yeah, in the recent past, you can see some good buildings that have come out of practice. So, in Chennai, if you ask me, there's Maui, Studio Maui, there's Architecture Red, there's Studio Lotus, there's KSM Architecture. All of these have a research wing dedicated in there. Or
Is there an umbrella term for this?
because the research was not there, we have now it's called research plus design.
Okay.
And this is a format that is followed in Foster and Partners and larger uh, firms. So I think there is an understanding that we don't know enough, so we need research to inform practice. So earlier research was done within the academia. I feel now research is coming into practice, but nevertheless, design itself involves a lot of research. So it's okay to accept. So the acceptance and the growth should not take long. It should happen in a couple of years, or it's already happening.
It is happening.
So yeah.
It is happening, but there's only one gap here. It's not moved into execution.
I feel it has moved into execution.
Actually, what happens is this changes are continuous. So then what happens is the person who's actually executing it out there, right, they will not receive the change. So sometimes there'll be rework or whatever it is, or there'll be a delay in transference of data.
Who's the executioner here you're talking about?
See, normally what happens is there'll be a design wing. Maybe it will be a good company, like as she said, Foster Partners or LNT over here in Chennai or something. Then they will subcontract the entire thing to an execution team. Okay. Now they will be essentially civil engineers. So now everything that we have done, they have to internalize it to know why that decision has been made. Normally plans are all given and all that updated. There are methodologies for it. Everything is in place. You upgrade it and then you say scale it up, or latest drawing has to be invoked. All that systems are there with BIM and all that. It is really coming into vogue. That's how BIM is actually.
I feel what we need is a project coordinator. That's all. Right now
who is there with the design team.
Yeah, that's what the coordinator who talks to all of these people.
Liaises between.
He needs the middleman for all of these middlemen. So I think
so that is where. So I see a lot of to and fro, but it's good. It's better to make the mistakes before, or the debates before than after.
Yeah.
But yes, it is there. Since I go into execution, I notice that there is usually a gap. So whenever I go, maybe a little later, there was one government project about 5 years back, and I saw the plan and I said, can we make a change? You seem to have lost a lot of space here. Can we do something? He said no.
Okay. I would like to add something.
No, so I'm right now more on the execution front of things. An on-site architect,
which ties well now.
So the thing is, on-site, your site doesn't know you're an architect, you're an engineer. Your need, doesn't know all that. It's our specializations, it's our degrees that we frame social construct of sorts. So to me, all that is a blur when you start, constructing. So the thing is, more than specialization, the problem with generalization is you cannot, it's not humanly possible for one person to know everything, and you have to know quality knowledge to be in touch with quality people, to bring the best output. And the problem with specialization is you might get biased towards your specialization. If you're a landscape architect, you will look at things differently from an interior specialized architect, versus someone who focuses on factories and all that. So I think the word that ties everything together is, trying to be integrated. That's the mindset, more than the words and the categories. the integrated approach towards a problem. It doesn't matter if it's an architect or a civil engineer or a maestri that comes up with that idea. It's integrating everything for a seamless, ideally for a seamless experience of the building, of the space. uh, you got to plan with electrical engineers. The designs are to and fro. Now it's made in one shot. Earlier it used to be to and fro. There used to be a drawing, an architectural drawing going to the structural, and the structural person saying, okay, these are the limitations. It comes back, and then architecture drawing happens. Based off that thing, and then this drawing goes to the electrical, this drawing goes to the plumbing, comes back, gets revised. A lot of time lost in the process. Now with Zoom and all that, we make decisions online. Only few calculations are left that take time. They'll be like, okay, we need to calculate this to see if we can accommodate that and all that. But at the end of it all, it's the human need. It's the requirement that's at the core. So integration is what defines a good design from everything else, in my opinion.
Okay.
You got to integrate human need with all of the services, all of the materials, all the decisions you make.
So it will be a good debate
Yeah.
all the time. So there will be people fighting for the design. See, if you go too much on the execution comfort zone and all that, then the design detailing, the creative part of it takes a beating. Then the other variable is the economy part of it. The other variable is the availability of resources. So there are many variables that dictate every decision.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
each one is a challenge, and each project is unique by
Yeah,
itself.
that's good. Talking about like a master integrator and a generalist, with the advent of AI and intelligence coming into almost all the fields now, how do you think architects should adopt this versus what they shouldn't never outsource into these things?
So I was just looking into AI, the most recent technological advancement. So as far as architecture is concerned, it's split into several categories. You can involve, that's a starting stage, you can involve AI in collecting information, in collecting resources, in bouncing off ideas to some extent, in planning. There are certain softwares where you can feed the requirement, you can feed the local bylaws and any other requirement you want, and it will sort of it won't give you an output, but it will give you a shape and the functions in that shape. It can even give you 100 options in that, and your job, you could say, is reduced from making all of that manually. So there is this first stage, the planning part. AI is slowly trying to, it is going to increase the performance of the end product, if you ask me. You get more prototypes, you get more options, and you can it is you get a more refined output if you use AI properly. Of course, that's the downside of AI. That is, it's not precise right now, and it does make mistakes. I think, but that's something that we'll overcome over time, I think. And then the next phase of designing is in the modeling part. So right now, this is called BIM 2.0. So what they do is the AI understands your designing style. It understands your designing style, and from there, different companies have taken different approaches to it. One company, so you start drawing lines in a certain pattern, it will start making suggestions. The AI.
Even as we
Draw.
model. Yeah. Okay.
And then another company, you don't even draw lines. Okay, you basically write the algorithm.
Yeah.
You write the algorithm, and the software draws for you. That's more like that's a completely different take on architecture itself compared to how we were doing it
Definitely.
all this while. And certain places, there's a combine of this first part that I spoke about. They will simulate every decision. They will try to quantify everything, every even if it's subjective, they'd like to add some number to it to quantify, why am I placing the fridge here? Okay, we traditionally place the fridge over here. We place the fridge in a kitchen near the hot place, but recently someone found out with using AI simulating that it consumes a lot of energy because it's left in the heat. So I mean, we didn't find that out all this while.
Yeah.
That happened only because of constantly sharpening this process. And so that's the modeling part of things. There's a lot happening in that phase. And then there is the communication, the presentation part of things. So that's where AI is at its peak now. You can make presentations in a jiffy. We spent hours, days, weeks on making the perfect presentation, one single presentation, but it can make multiples of it in minutes. And it's so easy now. And even we call it renders. So we make the 3D model, and we simulate how light reflects, how the material is, and everything manually. That's how it was done so far. Now you just have to feed it to the AI once. AI just needs to know about that material once, and uh, every design you just need to alter some of the parameters that change, and the process is you know it, I don't have a number to it, but it's extremely quick. You can you can have
definitely.
n number of prototypes. Again, the problem with that is it's not accurate. It makes changes by itself.
Our capacity will be in identifying the correct choice. அதான் சேலஞ்சுங்க. ஒரு 5 minutes it will give you about 2000 options, and it will even give you gradations or values for different aspects like heat, like thermal comfort, or like ventilation point of view. It will give you everything is possible right now, but identifying what is the need of the hour, I think, is the challenge. You have to choose.
It's again it's the underlying duty of every architect. If we come to the core of it.
No, but until now you were making all the decisions that AI was doing, but now I think the core part is knowing what compromises you got to make.
But
Because
isn't still like say you're designing all the possibilities, but AI is doing it for you. But moving past that state is still a human decision.
Yes.
I mean, I think I'm just adding to their point, and I have worked with a few AI training from that understanding. Architecture has a lot of grunt work, and like we've been discussing, architects caters to the anthropos, that is a human. So, which means there are a lot of intangibles. Architecture itself deals with a lot of intangibles, like design. Can you define design as a term? You cannot. Can you define culture? You cannot. Can you design likes, dislikes? Can you design color? There are certain things that you cannot define, and all of our decisions involves a little bit of these tangibles and intangibles. So again, coming from a larger perspective of a person who does not practice and execute design, there is a reason I stay away from this, because these questions also keep me going. So as a practitioner, yes, the number of options that you need to give to the client and all of these things, the quantity of it is too many. Earlier the quantity did not matter. That particular site had a certain um, certain value and the needs were met, and therefore you have a ideal building that fits your budget. So right now basically you have a lot of grunt work, the architectural thought, and all of this coming together. I feel the grunt work is one place where AI can help, but it should not come into the architectural thought. So how AI can be used in design fields as a generic term, which is a pedagogical research that's going on. We have some pioneers now. Uh, the same can be applied to architecture as well. Um, Also bringing it, and the second place where AI can really help is simulation. So right now we know how the building looks in 3D. Now we can start simulating and seeing how the building would feel in that space.
Yeah.
Also, do the thermal activity on a hot day, hottest day of the calendar. What is this building going to feel like? How is it going to? So, and on the coldest day, how is it going to feel like? So based on that, do I make material choices? Or so those are some things I think we can still allow AI to come. But I hope that the quantity or 2000 or 500 or 50 different options don't confuse people. If you're not a sensible architect who is not aware of the theories and everything that surrounds you, you might just be drawn
Yeah.
to something that you are biased about, or you leave out some aspects. So I think AI should be very systematically introduced in the pedagogy. Like right now, you use AI systematically for this part of your design project, for this part of your this thing. Not in making, I think at the education stage where the designer is being molded, it should not affect the thought.
Creativity should not be stunted.
Yeah, thought. If see what you cannot achieve, AI should be able to achieve for you. See, I'm not great at sketching, so this is my thought. AI, can you make it possible for me? So it draws it for me. So that's that. Those are some things, where I'm not great. I might be great at making presentations, maybe in 5 minutes. If somebody is struggling with making presentations, there you come and help. So wherever the thought should not get affected, I think that should be part of ethics in using AI, like ethics in writing and all of that has come in. So for design itself, consider the intangibles. So that the AI can never understand. It's not going to define that we are not able to define ourselves, or that is that which is undefined. Certain things are left best undefined, and those things we understand uniquely to context. I know I'm being very technical, but that part, so architects, you will need architects to make those decisions for you, so you understand what these options are, and then like what Andy was saying, that you pick the right option based on these things, and we cannot ever have a rigid framework for that, because now your creativity is going to be left to drawing those parameters for the set. So we cannot have a fixed parameter that you can apply on different uh, aspects. So
Do you think design takes a toll? Because AI is generally, they are good generalizers, as I spoke about.
they claim to be designers, AI.
Yeah. No, they normalize into one design. Like if you take a broader span of data sets that are given to them, do you think that innovation will take a toll when it comes to design, and how does it fit into this?
This is where I will, I suppose, that if you're not dependent on it, if the architect is not dependent on the AI, but only uses AI for evaluation, then he is at the right place.
Yeah.
Or that firm is at the right place. But if they are going to take it as options, and then you're going to evaluate everything, I think
Yeah.
it won't work out that way. Yeah, there are to and fro's. As any advent of anything new, there will always be this to and fro, no?
Yeah.
But it has come to stay. Okay, there is claims that it cannot replace the architectural creative mind, but can help the creative process.
Yeah.
Okay, but sometimes people are dependent on these outputs, and they are making a living out of it.
Yeah.
It's become commercial. So you see, as in every business, you'll have the plus and the minus always coexisting.
Also new innovation, like when internet came, how everybody felt about it is how people are feeling about AI today. So I think soon we will come to understand, right now it really fascinates us. Later on we'll try to understand AI for what it is, and not understanding not in the individual sense but in the collective sense. So then it becomes a tool for you.
Yeah.
And I think we will constantly have innovation. AI itself is an innovation. So I have read contradicting thoughts and all of these things that come about. But I think human mind is much more capable, and we will start designing for AI with AI.
I think that's the
You know,
key.
automation, all of these things.
We
It
are
should be
in the
integrated.
technological era.
But end of the day, they are there to serve human needs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Support us, enable
We
us.
just have to ensure that the decisions that we take with AI, or the decisions that we allow AI to take, are not just sustainable for human beings, but for the larger environment and that which surrounds us, which the AI is not going to understand.
Yes.
Because, yeah, so that will be the thing. So we will have innovation, maybe more for the world, for the earth, for agriculture, for climate. Those things, maybe that's
Like
where-
what she said, culture and all that, no, it's highly subjective.
Yes.
Yeah.
ஸோ அந்த இடத்துல எல்லாம் வந்து ஏஐ வந்து என்டர் பண்ணுறதுக்கு சப்ஜெக்டிவ் ஆஸ்பெக்ட்ஸில் என்டர் பண்ணுறதுக்கு கொஞ்சம் டைம் ஆகும். அண்ட் தட் மேக்ஸ் ஆல் தி டிஃபரன்ஸ்.
It does.
So I was just looking into how AI seems to affect professionals, people working in these large scale corporates and all that. So what they say is, if AI is not part of your skill set, um, you cannot survive in a corporate. You cannot survive in the corporate. You cannot survive what is to come, is what they say. And what they say is, we have 8,000 etc number of architects coming out every year, and we have so many architects, but not everybody is equal. There is the cream of the cream, and the cream of the cream is there because they went behind in search, in pursuit of that knowledge. In they acquired a certain skill set. They got in touch with a lot of contacts, and they are the top 20%. Is something that I'm going to define right now. The cream of the cream of architects. It's only those cream of the cream that, according to them, are capable of making those elite design decisions. Okay, to know what simulation and what module actually is something that we can take forward with. What they say is, your everyday architect, your regular architect, is not at the place, or is at the capacity to make that decision yet. This is what's happening in practice at the moment. Yes, it's going to create a lot of issues with the number of architects out, and with the dearth of knowledge and passion towards it, compared to the people up there. But maybe in the long run, the cream of the cream will be the norm.
See, the conflict that comes now is what I watch is this defining the intelligence property, the patent, intellectual property rights. Now, whose is it? Okay, and now to survive in the market where technology is at such a level and knowledge is at the flick of a finger, they are fighting hard to keep their unique selling points and their own data, because that is their uniqueness. They don't want to put out in the market.
Gatekeeping.
So yes, intellectual property is now a debated aspect in this design, because we are taking in AI, and then you cannot lay claim to the output.
Yeah.
And as earlier spoken about, when everybody has, okay, that will be a team, it will be a collaboration, and the team in total will get the claim to it. Okay, but even that has been questioned.
I think it's just a fundamental of question of where these AIs are trained on. Because even with where I come from, all these trained data are essentially data that normal people like us would be referring to or researching to anyways. It's just accelerating the process of what we are doing. And following IPs and everything, I think even intellectual property department, or the body in itself which governs in each and every country or city, will take this into account of how better to devise these IPs when AI is in practice. I think that provides us into a good area of us concluding and understanding on what architecture is, not means, but what it is. Define it from each of your own words. Start with Fiona.
What architecture is a design of built environment, keeping in mind the contextual um, elements such as culture, people, ecosystem, um, and the space itself, and having inclusive as well as a fair design process of how a space should be when it caters to the living. That's, I think, what architecture is and should be.
Fair. That's good. We'll start with Nitin.
So, the term architect, or architecture only makes sense from where you start off with, because, after a point, you're part of a bigger picture. You got to understand a lot of mechanical, you got to understand agriculture, you got to understand, you know, architect in essence is someone who designs, spaces, um, any space for that matter. There was this one study where the design was just a tree and a slope, no walls, no windows, no electrical. So, that's also design. But the word architect, the term architecture, to me is just a blur in between so many other facets and pieces of information that bring together our built environment. So, yeah.
Start with Anika.
It's a user-centric design process with multifaceted variables which factor the process for an efficient living and sustainable. Okay, that is what they are aiming at. That is architecture.
That's good. It was wonderful to have a conversation with all of you prolific people
Likewise.
in multi-dimensional values that you are giving us from the three pillars that we initially laid on what architecture can look on and from, and those are all the people that actually would be listening or would be wanting to gain value from as well. So yeah, thanks for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Enjoyed